David Einhorn, fooling some of the people all of the time, a long short, and now complete, story, updated with new epilogue. Welcome to the thrilling world of insider trading, hidden financial troubles, and long-standing corporate frauds. This summary of David Einhorn's fooling some of the people all of the time will take you on a riveting journey through the trials and tribulations he faced while investigating the suspicious accounting practices of Allied Capital Corporation. Along the way, you'll learn about the mismanagement of the Small Business Administration's 7A program, accounting fraud, and the surprising reluctance of the media and regulators to shine a light on complex, large-scale financial wrongdoings. Prepare yourself for a captivating look at the very worst side of Wall Street and one man's determined quest to unveil the truth.
David Einhorn exposes accounting fraud. David Einhorn, a hedge fund manager, suspected that Allied Capital Corp was hiding bad news from investors. He recorded phone calls with the CFO and other officials, which revealed that they didn't mark down the value of loans until they believed they had a permanent impairment of the asset. This violated fair value accounting and showed that Allied was valuing its assets at cost almost indefinitely, even if the asset's true value dropped. He also spotted other troubling practices, such as Allied's ownership stakes in firms that remained in debt to it. Convinced he had unearthed accounting fraud, Einhorn bet against Allied's shares in a short sale. His suspicions proved correct, and Allied shares plummeted due to Einhorn's exposure. The rise and fall of Allied. Allied engaged in pyramid scheme accounting, leading to a series of lawsuits and criticism from David Einhorn, an independent researcher off Wall Street. Despite accusations of scare tactics and shoddy research, Allied CEO Bill Walton paid for shares and lied about the company's merits. The company managed to bounce back due to analyst support, but the truth ultimately emerged, causing Allied's downfall. The Allied Capital Saga. David Einhorn, a hedge fund manager, discovered Allied Capital's fraudulent accounting through his analysis of the company's investments. The investments were made recklessly, and the company reported earnings based on bad loans. Despite Einhorn's attempts to interest regulators, journalists, and other investors in his findings, his story was ignored. Only one analyst turned bearish about Allied and lowered his rating. The media ignored the story until the SEC began to investigate Einhorn for manipulating the market for personal profit, forcing him to pay legal fees. Allied even hired a private investigator to steal Einhorn's and other critics' phone records. The company managed to keep its scheme afloat until 2008. Fraud and corruption in Business Loan Express. Jim Brickman, in his investigation, found disturbing patterns of fraud in Business Loan Express portfolio. One of the cases involved the same $300,000 shrimp boat that collateralized two loans totaling $1.85 million, both of which defaulted. The Business Loan Express, BLX, conducted massive fraud against U.S. taxpayers, and the SBA seemed uninterested in pursuing the findings. The SBA paid $280 million in guarantees for loans made by Allied's BLX subsidiary instead of investigating this obvious fraud. Several theories suggest the SBA wants to be seen as a lender-friendly agency or doesn't have the manpower to look into fraud allegations. Another possible reason could be Allied's lavish political campaigns and cultivated relationships with Washington power brokers. The consequence of Allied's illegal action was a light tap on the wrist and a $10 million payment to cover fraudulent loans. As of the book's publication, no regulator, prosecutor, or journalist had taken action on Allied's practices, and it continued business as usual.
Having taken a deep dive into Einhorn's investigation of Allied Capital Corp., we can now reflect on the critical lessons and eye-opening revelations he encountered. Far from a simple story of a business in decline, this summary shows the persistence of systemic financial fraud perpetuated by senior executives and their enablers in the wider finance industry. The reluctance of media and regulators to engage with the issue of such complex financial misconduct ultimately allowed Allied's reprehensible behavior to continue unchecked for many years. In the end, it becomes clear that, despite the brave efforts of determined individuals like Einhorn, understanding and confronting the true depths of corporate malfeasance can often win out against those seeking to expose it, leaving the reader with a sense of determination to scrutinize even the most seemingly successful companies and their practices.